their hearts. Only then they will be interested.
Okay, so look at the complete person, not what they bring to the table. Okay, now we'll move to the third area, which is not stepping up. I will elaborate on it once I get there. Not stepping up is an opportunity failure for HR. What that means is HR is a link between the manager and the worker. How? Because HR understands what the manager has to offer, what the manager requires, and HR also understands to a certain level what the workforce has to offer. And a lot of times when the times are tough, the top management has to make a decision, then they fail to understand or fail to realize some of the hidden potential of the workforce that only HR has a recognition of. So that is the time. Stepping up means you can step up out of your HR silo, go to the boardroom with a new initiative, new proposal, how the top management could utilize the hidden potential of the workforce that you have identified. This is the question, and I would like to ask Mr. Durrani, that a lot of time HR, because you need to be able to make a quick decision, and HR is blamed for long-term planning and taking a lot of time in strategy development. और जब decisions लेने होते हैं tough times में, you have to take quick decisions. You have to move fast. So suggest something to the audience. How can HR cut down its time that it normally takes to produce a strategy during the tough times? किस तरह shortcuts लेके चीजें जल्दी से develop करके आगे भेजी जा सकती हैं?
देखिए HR उसी वक्त effective होगी जब वो उसको complete understanding होगी कि what needs to be done. ये जो notion आप present कर रहे हैं ना कि HR is going to tell the business what to do, I don't subscribe to it.
From the standpoint of utilizing the strength of the workforce, from that standpoint.
Even that, HR का role जो है एक partner का है, एक facilitator का है. HR का role जो है dictator का या जो है एक advisor का इस तरह से नहीं है कि to tell the business what to do.
But the advisor का role तो है, right?
Advisor का role है. अब you need to first of all work with the lines, and you have to have a very in-depth knowledge of what is happening in the business. If you have that knowledge, only then there is going to be value and there is going to be sense in what you are talking about. Otherwise, आप जो है philosophical ideas बना लें, book textbook advices दें कि जी आप इसको इस तरह से कर लें, organization को de-layer कर दें, इसके इतने level बना दें, ये सारे textbook solutions होते हैं.
And they are not applicable. That's your point of view.
You can have all the knowledge of all the systems, processes, solutions in the world, but all those solutions are not applicable in all the situations. So you have to come up with a specific solution in consultation by understanding the problem. And quick decisions यही आप ले सकते हैं कि you have to go back to the organization and provide them about the people. Where there are gaps, you have a knowledge of the people's skill set, their strengths and their gaps, and you can help the organization in cutting that analysis time and move people from one place to the other, or remove certain poor performers.
Good. Mr. Zaimur, आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
Well, I was just actually going to quote you a case example of this very hotel and the group of hotels, because when 2001 9/11 happened, I was the director HR for Mr. Hashwani's 7 hotels. And no one was, actually the situation here was so bad, then one of the smart managers started sending people to the bus stop to get passengers to come and stay here for as low as 1200 rupees in a Pearl Continental suite. So that was the kind of business downturn that had taken place suddenly. And obviously there was insecurity all over. Now that was a situation which was smartly handled, and I give that credit to a gentleman who was the general manager here, Mr. Jeremy Frankel. Actually, Kamran knows that gentleman because he trained us together twice, and that gentleman was one of the participants. Jeremy Frankel came up with an idea and he discussed with me. It so happened that I was the director HR for all the 7 hotels, but I was sitting here in Lahore. I used to have my office in Lahore. So we had this discussion and we quickly concluded that this is what we ought to do. We engaged the union because they were very, very insecure and they felt that the crunch was coming on them any day and they were going to be fired. So we talked to them, had extensive negotiations, worked out some very smart business solutions. Some as trivial as for them taking 1 extra day leave in a week out of their earned leaves and reducing the cost like that. The food, which is generally very lavish in the hotels when it comes to the employees, that's one of the perks of serving in the hotel industry. That cost was cut down. So many other things, and they were done through one face-to-face communication with the unions. And except Bhurban Hotel, all the other hotels had unions. So we had to travel, I had to travel to all the hotels, engage in very extensive face-to-face kind of empathetic communication with the unions, and come up with solutions which worked for us for at that time. And now that I'm not here anymore, but I was told now that this insecurity again has gripped the people because of so many accidents having taken place in Mr. Ashwani's hotels, that people are again having to be told likewise that no one is going to be fired. I spoke to the food and beverage director the other day. He says that in the tradition of Pearl Continental hotels, we don't fire people. Now, once that message was sent out to people very categorically and unequivocally, then that calms things down, and that is what is needed. So HR needs to step in at such instances, in such situations. That is what HR actually is supposed to be doing. It has to become proactive and communicate very directly. And someone suggested, probably it was you, that why not learn communication from marketing? Marketing can only make ads, I can assure you. They can never communicate one-to-one. This is the strength and the forte of HR people, that they should be able to communicate directly and effectively with whatever segment is affected at that particular time.
Okay, very good. Would you like to add something?
Yes, a couple of things. One is something which has been just mentioned. I think generally the perspective that we have to take is not of cost, but of value. If we are able to convince the board or the CEO or whoever is the stakeholder, that, and even the people like she's talking about, the trainees that who are no longer interested in training, if you're able to convince anybody in the world on the value of what is being offered to them, we will be able to get them on our side. Now, to understand what value means, it's perceived value. So the board has its own perception about value. The other departments have their own perception about value. And again, you have to go back to understanding value in terms of their eyes, because value lies in the eyes of beholder. Now, HR's role is to be able to see the world from the lenses of all the departments and all the individuals and all the levels, which of course means that they have to be very, very clearly coming out of their rooms, their paradigms, and their traditional ways of doing things. Because if they keep on doing what they were doing yesterday, they will no longer be valid today. So what they have to do is to rethink their role, they have to rethink their responsibilities, and they have to devise strategies where they can go into everybody's mind and heart and soul and be able to tap that one thing which they value. And that may be differing from money to a pat, to a talk, or to just a small gesture of courtesy. So that's what the HR role is, to go back in understanding what people at all level values. Because you cannot standardize that, okay, if the board wants this, the other people also want that. Once you understand and are able to deliver that value, your role, your credibility, your demand in the whole organization, that HR is the one who understands that, HR is the one who can deliver, will go up, and recession will create that opportunity for HR to become the most important department.
Very good. We just have a last area and few minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience? Sir.
How do you differentiate between employees wanting to attend a training program and employees needing to attend a training program? And then is there a way that you can link their attending a training program and changing accordingly with their performance appraisal system? And how do you see that relationship having a positive impact of training?